In today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to ride switch in 5 easy steps, and my goal by the end of the video is to make you as awesome as possible. Before diving into all our steps, let's first define switch riding. Essentially, as you're snowboarding, you have your dominant direction. Switch simply means we're gonna go our less dominant direction. So our focus on today is being able to do that in 5 easy steps. Future Tommie Bennett here. I find it way easier to learn switch riding if we can first practice the drill in our dominant direction, and then we can understand what's going on, and then we try to mirror or mimic that in our switch direction. Our very first step is strap in your snowboard, find a nice area where you're nice and locked in, you're not gonna move around, and then we're gonna get into our normal stance. So I have my knees bent, 60% of my weight on my lead foot, and looking in the direction I'm going. Once you're feeling pretty awesome and aware of that position, let's imagine we're a mirror and we're gonna try to mimic everything in the opposite direction. So I'm gonna go to my right. My goal is to have 60% of my weight on my lead foot, my lead shoulder is pointing at the nose, my eyes are looking where I'm going, and I'm in a nice athletic position. Step number 2, we're simply gonna do a traverse. That simply means I'm gonna be on my heel side edge and I'm gonna get my body to go in my dominant direction across the hill while sliding sideways. Now in this body position, we're essentially looking for our knees bent in a nice strong position, but we're kinesthetically feeling what is it like to traverse. As I go across the hill, then we're simply going to feel that position. Now our goal is to go switch and we're trying to feel the exact same position. So I got, yo. So then our goal is to have 60% of our weight in our switch, lead foot, eyes, looking where we're going, and shoulder. Once in a while, definitely look around, but I'm just trying to find this very similar position happening to go in your switch direction. Now my goal is just to go back and forth and mimic, okay, what is this body position? Is it the exact same? Am I going nice and strong? I can slow down, go switch, the exact same body position. Is it the same? I'm just building my comfort and confidence for switch riding. Once you're feeling pretty awesome about that, we're gonna switch around. We're gonna go toe side. Now, a big key, whether you're going switch or regular, is to actually have your shoulders upright, spine upright, and shins pressed against the front of our boots, but also notice my hip position. I'm in a very strong, balanced position here. I am not hunched over, super weak and falling over. My goal is to be here. So in my regular direction, I'm gonna look, I'm gonna feel, and what does this feel like? I'm gonna become familiar with this. My goal is to slow it down and then look over my non-dominant or my switch direction and just try to feel the exact same thing. But notice that my shoulder position, my hip position hasn't changed. The only thing that's changing is I'm talking to you, but notice that it's just the same thing. I'm not making a dramatically different body position in my switch or regular, and my goal is just to go back and forth. Do this as much as you need to be super comfortable and confident. And also work on, when you're going switch, turn uphill and slow down. Definitely be able to do that both heel side and toe side. Now, as you become more comfortable with that, I wanna add a challenge. Every time we go on a direction, we're gonna have 60% of our weight over that lead foot. So we're changing it up just a little bit. I'm gonna slow down, go 60% of my weight on this foot, and do this. So as you become more comfortable, just think about shifting your weight. Heel side, 60%, slow down, 60%. I'm just cruising nice and smooth. Do this as often as you need to be and just get as comfortable as possible. Can we film this real quick? Now, step number 3 is gonna be called a J-turn. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our board in our dominant direction to go downhill. We're gonna pick up a little speed, 1,000, 2, 1,000, and then we're gonna come to a stop. Now, as we do this, we wanna be kinesthetically aware of what is happening. So we're gonna do it again. I got 60% of my weight on my lead foot, dominant direction, point my board down the hill, feel it, feel it. Okay, I'm gonna come to a stop. As I come to a stop, I'm gonna lift up my toes. Very basic for you, because I know you're awesome. But understanding that body position, let's go ahead and mirror that. So I'm gonna go again, put 60% of my weight in my switch lead foot. I'm gonna get my body to go downhill. Now the best part of this drill is I'm gonna be able to go pick up a little bit of speed, but then I go back to a position that I know how to do. Now all I gotta do is point my lead shoulder my board down the hill, 1,000, 2, 1,000, weights on the front foot, and I'm gonna open, and then guess what? I'm going back to a position that I'm extremely comfortable with. So this J-turn is a great segue to getting our board to go pick up a little bit of speed, actually ride some switch riding, and then come to a stop. And of course, let's do this in our toe side dominant direction, just becoming kinesthetically aware. I'm gonna point my lead shoulder board down the hill, point, 1,000, 2, 1,000. Now I'm gonna come to a stop, hips forward. But I'm a big fan of starting on my heel side edge, just so that I'm aware of what's going on beneath me. Then I'm gonna allow my lead shoulder, weight 60% on my front foot. I'm gonna go downhill, switch, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of speed. Then I'm gonna get back into that normal, comfortable position, and I'm gonna slow down. Notice that my hips are forward, my spine is upright, and I'm slowing down. And as a bonus tip, whether you're heel side or toe side, progressively come to a stop, which just simply means slowly come to a stop. Don't force it, because then it's gonna cause a lot of problems. As a bonus tip, whether you're going switch or regular, think about smearing the snow as if you're smearing peanut butter. And that simply means that I'm gonna get the board to rotate, and notice how the snow is smearing. It doesn't matter if I'm toe side, it doesn't matter if I'm heel side. As long as I'm smearing the peanut butter, switch reg goofy, it's gonna make turns 1,000 times easier. Because you've stayed this long, I have an absolute bonus game-changing tip for you, and let's dive briefly into knee steering. Knee steering is the best way to turn your snowboard, whether you're going switch or regular, but we're gonna talk about it in our switch stance. So when we do our toe side knee steering, we want 60% of our weight over our lead foot. This is gonna allow us to have more flex in our knee. When we're doing toe side, I want you to press your shin over your ankle strap and try to get your shin close to your toe. It's gonna look like this. Notice that my shoulders, hips are all together. I'm not driving the momentum from my arms, but I am in a stacked position and I'm trying to squish. Imagine there's a bug on your ankle strap and you're gonna squish down. It looks like this. When it comes to your heel side, we still want 60% of our weight over our lead foot. And then I'm actually trying to get my full femur to rotate like this. Notice that I'm not pushing my knee forward. I'm not just trying to go this way. I'm actually trying to get my femur to rotate. Imagine your knee is a door and you're getting that door to open up like this. What that's gonna do is allow the board to pivot so that we can smear the snow. So we're gonna just take a quick step back and go to the J-turn to focus on the knee steering. I'm simply going to get weight on my lead foot. And then my goal is to press my shin over the boot. Notice how effortlessly I was able to turn. The best part about this, the more intense I push over my boot, the quicker I'm gonna turn, just like this. So I can get here, point my board down the fall line, shift weight, and then turn. Now I'm able to do a very rapid turn, which is extremely useful for riding trees, moguls, or stopping to avoid small children. Now for a heel side edge, we're gonna point our board down the fall line, 60% of the weight in the lead foot, and I'm letting this femur rotate, pivot. That is the basis of knee steering, and you should be doing that for every turn, except for carving. When we carve, it's a different style turn. Subscribe for a carve video, because we're putting out an ultimate beginner video for carving tomorrow. Switch tip number 4 is let's start doing some C-turns. Essentially what we're trying to do is start with our board across the fall line, and because I'm going switch and I gotta make a turn, I wanna be able to go toe side. So we're gonna point our board down the fall line, and then guess what? Yes, knee steering, 60% of our weight on lead foot, and then I'm gonna turn, even out, and I'm gonna come to a stop. In this position, I'm now gonna go to the next C-turn. We're not quite linking our turns yet, but we are going to do our next turn. So our goal is to let our lead shoulder go down the hill, pick up a little bit of speed. Yes, you guessed it, knee steer, come to a stop. If you need to separate and just focus on one turn, absolutely. If you want to do what I just did, which was do a C-turn to a C-turn and pause, absolutely. But remember, body positions, knee steering, come to a stop. If you find yourself doing this and then just going in like spinning, the reason is, as you go across the hill, you need to even out your weight, and I'll show you an example. Board is pointed straight down the hill, across, and then I even out. If I kept my weight over here, then I would start spinning immediately. So if you're ever having that problem, do that. Now, tip number 5, let's go ahead and link our switch turns together. But essentially, we're gonna do those 2 C turns that we just did, except we're gonna not pause in between. It's gonna look like this. Because I'm already facing uphill, I'm gonna point my board downhill, let that go, and I'm gonna come to a slow. I'm gonna keep a little bit of momentum. I'm gonna let this knee go down the hill. Go down the hill. Guess what? Knee steer, slow down, but keep the momentum. Look where I'm going. Now, I do have the option right now to traverse, which means goes across the fall line before I make my next turn. Hello, oh my gosh, you're amazing. She killed that. Did you see that? That was fantastic. So I have the option of traversing, or I can make more turns without going across the hill, like this. Turn, 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 all knee steering. Step number 6 is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Our goal is to have big switch turns and little switch turns, but we're gonna make this fun and we're gonna do the tornado drill. Essentially, we're gonna start with some big wide turns, and then every turn we're gonna try to make them smaller and smaller until we make the smallest possible turn ever. Let's try it out. So, starting with the very first turn, normal strong body positions, looking around. I'm gonna make a nice turn, knee steer, boom. Notice how wide these turns are, taking up a lot of space. So as I'm taking up space, looking around. Still big turns, knee steer. Now I'm gonna start shortening my turns, and I'm gonna start making them a little bit quicker. Still getting across the fall line, quicker, and I'm gonna go even shorter. Okay, now we're gonna have to be very precise with our movements. We're gonna go shorter and shorter. Notice I lost a lot of speed, but I'm trying to get these turns to be as tight as possible, but I'm still keeping the exact principles of doing this. And then it gets really hard, and then we're gonna go like this. Woo, it's peanut butter, peanut butter. Now if you want another challenge, is actually start making these turns a little bit bigger, but not too big. Maybe avoid some people. Now, the goal is to be able to have the flexibility to make as many different styles of turns, shapes as possible. Now the goal is to be able to do big turns, small turns, a little bit of long turns, wide turns, doesn't matter. We want to have the versatility in our riding to do as many different styles of turns, because when you get out into the real world, you're gonna need all those skills. Well, on that note, we're gonna end it there. I absolutely love you and appreciate you. If you wanna pick up a pair of goggles, check out shopbennettech.com. Also, I do a live stream every single Tuesday where I answer your questions. And on that note, you're amazing, love you. Thanks for staying to the end. We out.